Good morning.
Good morning.
So glad to see you all this morning. We will start our service this morning. Before we get into announcements and all, I'm inviting Susan Burr to come forward and from the LHHH, Loving Hearts, Helping Hands. And Susan, where'd you go? There you go.
These two roses are in memory of two very important people to UUTC who have died in the last few weeks. This one is for Carol Burke. She was our wonderful, calm, quiet Buddhist member. She loved animals, and we will miss her. She has left us. Her daughter, son-in-law, and grandson are here in Hendersonville to celebrate her life. This one is for Paul Cox. Many of you don't know Paul Cox or didn't know Paul Cox. He was a charter member of UUTC way back 25 years ago. Paul Cox and his wife Susan are all inward woven through this church. I just want to say one thing about Paul because he's meant a lot to Dick and me. Dick had heart surgery and felt quite alone in mission, and Paul came the day after that heart surgery and stuck with Dick through cardiac rehab, depression, everything that sometimes heart surgery brings with you. So we have fond memories of his being Dick's personal care team for months and months.
They are missed. Welcome to everyone. We know that we have some folks whose faces we haven't seen before. We're so glad that you're with us. I hope that we end up being the kind of place where you want to come back again and again to be with us. This Unitarian Universalist congregation here in Transylvania County has been around for coming up on 25 years officially, and a wonderful place for folks to gather and explore religion, no matter who you are, what paths you've taken in your life, no matter who you love, how you identify. This is a place that I have found very welcoming, and I'm very glad to be part of this place too. For announcements, we've had announcements up on the screen. I want to emphasize this Wednesday is our wonderful Wednesday. We have a meal at 5:30 and at 6 o'clock a presentation. This time, 6:30, yeah, you're right. 6:30 presentation, 6 is when they're testing the microphones. And the subject, as it says up here on the screen, will be hearing a bit about the Augusta Trail, good nature-oriented outdoor thing for Earth Day month. So I hope that you show up for this. But if you want to show up for the dinner, 5:30, please, the last day to sign up at the front counter. That's why I wanted to especially emphasize this. We need to have a head count so that they can cook for you for Wednesday. But if you just want to show up, bring friends along, no reservations needed for the presentation, please do that. We also have a special announcement this morning. Susan Zelli's going to come forward and give us an announcement, and you can take my microphone and talk to them.
This is kind of odd. Well, good morning. I'm a member of the auction team, and for those who are new to UU or who didn't go to the auction last year, I want to encourage everyone to come. Opening night is Friday, April 26th. It'll be fun. There'll be food, there'll be drink, there'll be merriment, there'll be purchases, and fellowship with your UU community. The other thing I wanted to do really is encourage people to think a little bit creatively about what you might contribute to this. And I don't know if you read the newsletter, but if you don't, I'm going to just say a few things that we've already put in the newsletter. It doesn't have to be something major. It can be a fancy dinner, but it can just as well be a small dinner. Those of you who remember circle dinners, small dinners, very relaxed, people talking, getting to know our community. Think creatively. Have you always been interested in native plants? I bet we have some experts here who might be able to host or participate in a native plant discussion so you can get your garden going this spring and fall. Are you a world traveler and you have stories to share? Consider hosting it. Most of us love to hear about travel, particularly as we went through COVID and we couldn't travel. Or if you just have something that you want to share, you want to talk about life's challenges as we age, and there are many challenges as we age, I think we'll all agree, that might be something that a small group is interested in doing. So think about something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a high-price meal or a high-price discussion. It is something I think we would all enjoy. The members of the auction team are Beth Claus, who's here with us, Vicki Held, Mike Griffith, and Donna Rayburn. So if you have any questions, please feel free to approach any of us. The blue forms on the front desk are the forms that you fill out for us, and we'll be accepting donations this Sunday and the next 2 Sundays. Hope to see you there.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, team. It's a fun event to come to and fairly new for this congregation to try out. Don't do what Christy and I did. We took the blue forms home to fill out, and then we left them on the table. So do fill them out. Maybe fill them out here and not take them home to your table. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to turn our attention to the candles, and Jackie's going to help me light candles. We had 2 people who wrote down candles, but let's light a candle, 1 each for our yellow roses.
Nothing in here? No.
Oh, are we going to make it a challenge
go.
for you today? All right. Just never pull it back in.
I know, I did that last time.
So for our 2 roses, Paul and Carol, and our memories of them. And also, let's light a candle of concern for Victoria Kerr, who's ill today. And a candle of sorrow, please, anonymously for a member who has a very important test tomorrow. And let's light a candle for things that were not written down, not shared yet, but might be shared during our coffee hour when we meet and greet with one another. Or those things that were held in the hearts of those who are watching online. Thank you. May these lights glow throughout this service and in our hearts and in our prayers. And now, would you turn to one another and greet one another on this lovely morning?
Good morning. I'm Jackie Fricks, your worship associate for today. And our opening words are by Reverend Carol Thomas Sissel. She is a minister of social justice and community development at the UU congregation in Arlington, Virginia. She is passionate about homiletics, crafting exuberant worship, travel, and small batch bourbon. Carol collects the masterworks of both Native American and First Nations peoples, contemporary art glass, and kisses from her, as she describes, delicious grandson, Andrew. We are one. We are family. We are connected by blood and bone, mind and heart, and sometimes bricks and mortar. Like the finest woven tapestries of old, and the spices blended and stirred into our family's secret recipes. Our lives are intentionally intertwined. And we are made, no, we are fashioned into a stronger community by those connections. This interlacing, intertwining, and intermingling of our existence makes each of us whole. This interlacing of our lives makes us whole. Happiness and sorrow. The intertwining of our lives makes us whole. Blessings and burdens. The intermingling of our lives makes us whole. Lament and laughter. May we allow the magic and mystery, often named spirit, to keep us connected long after today's service has ended. Come, let us worship this morning. Oh, the hymn? Please rise as you are able for our opening hymn, number 1023. It's in the blue, small blue hymnal.
And this hymn is around, so we're going to sing all together the first time through, and then my side is going to be number 1, and then Jackie's side is going to be number 2, so that we'll have a little bit of a round going, and we'll do that through, and then we'll end. All right. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, building bridges between our divisions, and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make some sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
The chalice lighting are the words of Sherry Woodbury. She seeks to create pathways for the transforming power of love to work in individual lives, in congregations, and beyond. She is currently the settled minister at First Unitarian Church of Omaha. Sherry is sustained by music, meditation, hiking, and spontaneous games of ping pong with her husband and tween. Welcome all who seek renewal in a weary world.
Welcome all who come with love and energy to share.
Welcome to those who worry for the future.
Welcome each one who is grateful for today.
Know that in this place, you are not alone.
In community, we share our strength with one another, and we keep the flame of love burning bright.
Know that in this place, responsibility is shared.
Here, tradition holds us. Ancestors shine a light from the past.
Here, the young lift their bright faces and beckon us onward.
Take my hand, and we can go together.
Good morning. I'm Kevin, and I get to work with the kids, and we do have a couple today. And I am the director for Children's Religious Experience, what we're now calling Family Ministry. And so happy to have all of you here. Of course, during this month of April, we are studying interdependence, how we all need each other. We're all here in a system, in a circle together. And today's story is called The Grumpy Gecko. This comes from the Barefoot Book of Earth Tales by Don Casey and Ann Wilson, which is a really great book, if you can find it. Well, once in this hot, steamy jungle, there was a tiger who was sleeping peacefully away through the night when he felt a tap on his shoulder, and he opened up one sleepy eye, and the gecko was there. And the gecko said, "Tiger, are you asleep?" "Well, I was." "Well, wake up, because I need to tell you I have a complaint to register with you as king of the jungle." Tiger said, "Yes, what is it?" "My complaint is that the fireflies keep flashing through the night, and they flash in my face, and they keep me awake. I haven't slept well in days." And the tiger says, "And you're telling me this why?" "Well, as king of the jungle, you need to go do something about it." Tiger got slowly to his feet and said, "All right, Gecko, I'll go talk with the fireflies and put this to a rest." So the tiger padded through the forest until he came to the fireflies. He said, "Fireflies, what is this about you flashing all night long?" Though the tiger was pretty sure he knew this already, he had to ask him. And the fireflies said, "Yes, well, of course we flash all night long. That's what we do. But we're offering an important service. We flash all night long because we're flashing out the warning that we heard the woodpecker tapping on a tree. And we want everyone to know that there's a warning out there." Tiger said, "Okay, I guess I'll go talk with the woodpecker." So he walks through the forest till he finds the woodpecker and says, "Woodpecker, what's this about you tapping out a warning on a tree?" The woodpecker looked down his long, severe beak at him and said, "Well, of course I tap out a warning. That's my job. But I guess what I do isn't being appreciated. But I tap out a warning that the water buffalo has left big piles of manure on the path. I don't want anyone to step into it." And the tiger said, "Okay, so I guess I need to go talk with the water buffalo." So he walked on to the water buffalo. He found the water buffalo sleeping in a big pool of mud that had been created by the rain. And he said, "Water buffalo, what is this about you leaving piles of mess on trails?" And the water buffalo says, "Well, yes, sir, I did that, sir, but this is an important service I offer, sir, because the rain washes big holes in the path, and if I don't drop the manure, then the holes will just be there for people to fall into. So maybe you ought to complain to the rain." The tiger said, "Well, I guess I have to go talk to the rain then." So he took a very long walk up the mountain of that land he was in, and he got to the top, and he looked around at all the greenery around him. And there was the lush fields and the lush jungle below him, the rice paddies, and he closed his eyes, and he smelled the fresh flowers and the fresh jasmine, and he listened, and he listened to the little streams starting at the top of the mountain, heading downhill, connecting to the other streams, connecting to more streams, connecting to the river that watered the rice paddies below. And he said, I don't think I need to talk to the rain to ask why the rain rains. And he headed back down that long path, back through the forest, and back to the gecko. And the gecko said, well, did you fix it? And the tiger said, well, gecko, what's the primary thing that you eat? And the gecko thought and said, mosquitoes. Okay, and where do the mosquitoes come from? The rain. All right, well, the rain washes downhill, and it makes little holes in the path. And the path has holes in them that the water buffalo tries to fill with manure. And the woodpecker pumps out a message about the manure there. And the fireflies flash that message, and you see the flashing of it. So let's think about this. And the gecko thought about it for a minute and said, well, if the rain didn't fall, and the rain didn't create puddles, have that water, and all these things happen in succession, I might not maybe have any mosquitoes to eat. And the tiger said, that's right. Because we all live in a system. We all are in a circle, connected together, though we might not see it sometimes. But we're all needed in that circle, and we all must live somehow in harmony. And with that, he said, gecko, go fall back asleep, because I'm doing the same. And the fireflies kept flashing. Jake, will you please bring up our candle, and we'll light our children's chalice, and then sing them out.
And
Our blessing, peace be with you.
and our blessing, peace be with you, and our blessing as you leave us now. It looks like I picked up somebody else's iPad.
Sorry about that.
When we come together, we share. We find out more of what's going on. We meet new people. We remember why we're here and why this place feels good and nourishes us. When we get together, we hear stories and wisdom, words that help lift us up. And then we get to this part in the service. This part of the service is where we get to exercise. I want everybody to stretch. We get to exercise. Now, reach in your pockets. And do you exercise? You got too much weight in your pockets. Lift that weight, and then put it in a basket. Now, really, this is one of the things that religion teaches us. We need to stretch. We need to breathe. We need to remember to give. We lighten our load, and we help lift others. We've got a special announcement of our special offering this morning, so Alice Hardy will tell you at the beginning of the month our new monthly giving that goes into the envelope, and anything that goes into the basket comes to the congregation. And Alice, would you come up and share with us?
This is the Children's Center. It's located right around the corner on South Johnson Street. I think of it as the little yellow house with the big heart. This is a happy place for children. At the Children's Center, children are the primary focus. It's quieter there. Some of the children who come to the center live with caretakers. Some of them live in their family car. Some live with others, family members, in small apartments or tents in the forest. Some live in temporary shelters. For this reason, or for many other reasons, these children may be removed from their family by social services for their safety and moved into temporary foster care or sent to another relative in the county. Once the county is involved, a judge may rule that the child have short visits with family members. These visits are usually held at the Children's Center. The visit is supervised by a social worker and overseen by our staff of 2. In February alone, 111 children and 53 adults enjoyed visits together. Healthy snacks and drinks are available. Sometimes a complete lunch after school, sandwiches, and all kinds of fun things are appropriate offerings for the children. You can imagine it being the only place where you can have your own package of peanut butter crackers and a juice box, and you don't have to share it with anybody. Where you can play in a safe, clean, well-equipped yard outdoors, or you can play indoors in a large, colorful room with toys located from the big toy closet, a place where adults smile at you and even know your name. One of our 4-year-old clients recently proclaimed, arms stretched out wide, "This is the best place in the whole world." Our 2 main sources of income are from grants, which are harder and harder to come by these days, and contributions from generous folks like you. Our funds are usually not restricted. This means that when some of the larger nonprofits cannot use their money for such things as diapers, gas vouchers, gas vouchers are meant to be used for driving children to doctor visits or visiting them in the hospital, or taking them to dental visits, or meeting extraordinary health needs. If we have the funds, we can help. Our clientele are folks that truly live below the poverty line in Transylvania County. Car seats, cribs, beds, and help with paying bills are just some of the many requests we receive on a daily basis. The Children's Center, both staff and dedicated volunteers, help in finding safe shelter, clothing, bedding, medical needs, and therapy for thousands of children every year. We collaborate with other nonprofits, the schools, the Sheriff's Department, and many other services. All of this, of course, takes a trained staff, volunteers, time, and money. Please check our website, the Children's Center of Transylvania County, or talk to me to learn more. I am Alice Hardy, and I have been a member of the Board of Directors for nearly 20 years. I thank you for this opportunity to tell you a small part of what we do, and to thank you for your generous yearly support. Thanks.
We will now gratefully receive the morning offering. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Joanna. What's given in love, we receive with great joy. Thank you. I invite you into this time of prayer and meditation in whatever way you center yourself or reach out into something beyond yourself. This is that moment. Spirit of love and life, we who are gathered here this morning reflect on the glow of these candles and the love and the connections and the way in which we are bound to one another. Our hearts go out to those who are facing trials, tests, wondering what will be happening. In particular, our hearts go out to those who are facing important tests tomorrow. Our hearts go out to those who are not well. The many ways in which we as human beings realize that we are fragile, that we need care. Our concern this morning is for Victoria Kerr, who is ill today, and for all those who may be at home and not quite as well as they would have wished. Our hearts go out to those who are alongside loved ones in hospice care, those who have reached a stage in their lives of wishing for comfort and love as transitions are occurring in the path of life. These, the prayers of our hearts and the meditations of our minds, we hold now in this silence. In the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say amen. Blessed be. Julie, I invite you to share your music with us, and would you tell us a little bit about it?
I'd be happy to. This song is called It's My Birthday. No great surprise, I wrote this on my birthday after having a talk with my 3 daughters, who as preteens and teenagers were frustrated because we couldn't afford to do all the things that they wanted to do, or buy some of the clothing items that they might want to have. And we had a really good discussion about all of the things, all of the blessings that we have that are for free. And after that discussion, it inspired me to write this song, which is very much about gratitude for things, people, pets, animals, nature, which works out real well. I didn't know what he was going to be talking about today, but apparently this is very much about interdependence. It's my birthday, come along and celebrate with me. I will tell you all the gifts that God has given me. They're not wrapped up in a box with ribbons and a bow. Still I see them as my gifts, and they're all free, you know. Early morning walks and long sitting on the dock, finding seashells on the shore, listening to the ocean's roar. Starry nights and birds in flight, a good friend at my door. It won't matter if you're young or if you're 99. You can have these things for free almost any time. You don't need a credit card or fancy warranty. These gifts are here for everyone, and this I guarantee. You'll love the smell of apple pies, gazing into beautiful eyes, purring cats, silly hats, being told you're wise, wearing purple anytime, and poetry that rhymes, playground slides and river rides, the smell of fresh key limes. You don't have to earn these gifts, they're all around the earth. All you had to do is just be present at your birth. I know this may not make sense and seem rather odd, but at the moment of your birth you were a precious child of God. Who gives you flowers in the spring, songs for us to sing, clapping hands to old rock bands, the happiness it brings, laughing with your friends and good books that never end, the moon above, the ones you love, and a gentle summer wind. It's my birthday, come along and celebrate with me. Now I've told you all the gifts that God has given me. I could tell you more than this, but we'd be here all night. Just believe I'm loving life and everything's alright. And every day is somebody's birthday. Yeah, happy birthday, Jerry. And Jerry happened to be celebrating his birthday the day we recorded this and had the CD produced.
Thank you, Julie. It's nice when Julie comes back and brings her gifts to this place. Thank you. And John, you just could not help yourself getting in there, right? Tickling those ivories. It's lovely. It's lovely. And I'll weave that, I'm going to weave that into this sermon. Yeah. Yeah. The reading is by one of my colleagues, Reverend Tess Bomberger, and I think it's beautiful for us to hear in this place, in this time. Touch the mountain. Here at her fingertips, her ferns, her flowers, her sands and grasses, her spring shimmering like tiny white hairs over her pebble toes. Touch the mountain. Taste the treetops, the wind among them causing flat green bodies to brush together. Sandpaper shoes sound, rain on eaves sound, leaf ecstasies. Touch the mountain, melt in moonlight, sense its wetness on your belly as your spine sinks deep into the soil, your nerves tingling with earthen dreams. Touch the mountain, ride the sky. Perched on this boulder overlooking this valley, your feet planted here, your head tilted up, ready for dawn's first kiss. Your arms stretched wide, wide as the horizon. Close your eyes and feel your throat form an eagle's call. Love the earth with tender fury. Touch the mountain, taste the treetops. Touch the mountain, melt in moonlight. Touch the mountain, ride the sky. We are bound to one another. Sermon topic for this month, and this month's theme in our Soul Matters packet and in our many of our services at least will be the theme of interdependence. And you have some preview a bit from the readings and from the story of where this theme resides. The nice thing about having a whole month to tease something out is that I can build on it over time. And so some people may say, well, Bob, this is your Earth Day sermon. And I'll say, yes, it is. And then I can preach more on Earth Day when I get to Earth Day. Or some people will say, this was your sermon about being friends and being bound with one another. And I say, yes, it is. But you're not going to stop me from preaching that sermon any other time. We're lucky that way. We have time. We don't have to worry about, does it fit the news cycle? We have the chance to let something tingle in our nerves and have us stretch out with the theme. That was a delicious reading. Tessa's reading about touch the mountain, taste the treetops, melt in moonlight, ride the sky. That was a delicious reading of being in nature. We had some of that in the story that Kevin was presenting. Everything is connected. We are all bound together. That grumpy gecko, make those fireflies stop. King of the jungle, make them stop. I want sleep. I think at one time or another, each of us has come to that conclusion. We don't have enough geckos around to eat the mosquitoes. We don't have enough warnings not to step on the trail where something has already left its scat. Yeah. We know that this mountain region has lovely waterfalls and puddles and mud and a whole bunch of other stuff that sometimes we just don't want to have to tolerate. As human beings, we have this sense that we can control things. I mean, if we had a switch for weather, wouldn't we do that? Wouldn't we just say, no rain right now. We got something to do right now. For a while, when I was a kid, human beings felt like life was made better through chemicals. And there was this chemical that's too long for me to pronounce that was abbreviated DDT. And we decided we were going to control the mosquitoes that way. And I remember as a kid being outside playing, and then the town truck would start coming down the street and creating this huge fog, and we'd all want to run inside before the fog enveloped our bodies. It got the mosquitoes all right. But it got a whole lot of other things too, and it took a while for people to begin to realize it was messing with this world. If we had time for the story, there was a story written a few years later. It was the day they parachuted cats on Borneo. Anybody here know that story? It is a magnificent story about how in Borneo they controlled the mosquitoes with DDT. And before long, they were overrun with rats. Now, why was that? Well, because, you see, the birds and things that would eat the mosquitoes and the snakes that would eat the birds or, whatever, the whole ecosystem was thrown off when everything got poisoned by DDT. Everything was thrown off until the whole place was overrun with rats. And nobody much wanted the mosquitoes, but they especially didn't want the rats. And they decided, in the end, the only way they could control the rat population at that point was to airdrop cats onto the island to hunt the rats. Now, the story ends at that point, and you can imagine a children's book with cats parachuting down to the island. Now, I don't think they had individual parachutes for each of those cats, but they had some way of airdropping those cats down there. And they controlled the rat population. I have no idea what people said about all those cats and how Borneo was with all these imported invasive cats now. Wild cats, feral cats, cats everywhere making a racket. I don't know. But we as human beings are going to try to find a solution to what bothers us, just like Grumpy Gecko. Stop that, make this go away, whatever it may be, and we try to make it all right. We do this in relationships too. Make those people go away. Make these people happier. I've been listening to a song for weeks getting ready for this sermon. It's a theme song to the TV show Friends. How many of you know the TV show Friends? So no one told you life was going to be this way. Your job's a joke, you're broke, your love life's DOA. It's like you're always stuck in second gear when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. Your mother warned you there'd be days like these, but she didn't tell you when the world has brought you down to your knees that I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to pour, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before. I'll be there for you because you're there for me too. Now, most people don't listen to that song and say, oh yeah, that's the kind of poetry that Reverend Bob is going to be using on Sunday morning. But it is. Because, you see, we have to be there for one another. If we are going to be friends to one another, if we're going to be able to make it, we have to have people in our life who are going to be there when it isn't our day, our week, or even our year. We're going to have to be there for people when it's time to face the downpour, when things aren't working out right. We talk about this again and again in this congregation about how it made a difference as people moved into the area to realize this congregation was here. This is a place where we can be there for you when the rain starts to pour. We can be there for you. Now, these two themes tie together. Because in the end, we've got to be a part of nature and society, and we have to be a part of making those things the whole, the intricate whole that they are, that gives balance and support. All right, I'm preaching to the choir here. What John was doing, along with Julie, was jumping in with a little bit of talent. A lot of talent. Thank you for the correction. A lot of talent to make something just a little bit better. That reminds me of that Friends theme song. Oh, yeah. Yeah. hanging out together, having fun together, putting the fun into being in church. John and I have been part of a planning group that's putting together an Earth Day celebration on the 21st. It's an ecumenical thing. It's something that the creation care team at the Lutheran Church wanted to do and wanted to invite all sorts of folks in the whole community to it, and invited different churches here in Brevard to take place. And so I know we're taking part, and some people from St. Phillips are taking part. I managed to convince them that they wanted the UU lyrics to a certain hymn that we're going to sing, and threw in the hymn that we're going to sing at the end of this service that's only in our hymn book as it fits the theme. And in return, they've been sharing resources and all sorts of things to help us think about different ways religions talk about being bonded with one another. Right here, I've got a reading from 6 months ago, almost exactly 6 months ago. It was the 4th of October, the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, in which the Pope said some words. I'm going to read the Pope's words, just one, it's a lot of words, but just this one little piece. The Judeo-Christian vision of the cosmos defends a unique and central value of the human being amid the marvelous concert of all of God's creatures. But today we see ourselves forced to realize that it's only possible to sustain a situated anthropomorphicentrism. To recognize, in other words, that human life is incomprehensible and unsustainable without other creatures. For as a part of the universe, all of us are linked by unseen bonds, and together form a kind of universal family, a sublime communion which fills us with the sacred, affectionate, and humble respect. When we get together for ecumenical things in this community or interfaith things in this community, we learn there are ways in which we all can contribute a little bit here and there. And this little bit, this little one quote from the Catholic tradition just 6 months ago, the Pope saying this out loud, it echoes again as we're coming up on Earth Day. It's saying we are bonded with everything. And what it was saying is we have to be situated. Yeah, we're really human-centric in the way we look at things. And the way we talk about religion is very human-centric. But we have to realize we're in a situation in which we're bonded with everything and everyone. There is no way that the pain of another person does not end up having a ripple effect on us. There is no way that our happiness or joy does not have a ripple effect on others. It's said in the stories of human interactions that what we want is what we have to do. Be the change that you want. And that change, I think, is recognizing, as the Pope said, as our readings have talked about, as the songs are saying, to recognize humbly we are surrounded by gifts, surrounded in a context. And I want you to take this whole month thinking about interdependence, whether you get the packet, and I can send it to you if you didn't get it already at the first of the month. But even if you don't have the packet to look through some questions and think about interdependence, do it on your own, because this is just the starter sermon for the theme, for us to really be humble and knowledgeable that we are here as part of a larger process. We have a really hard time alienating others if we get it about interdependence. We have a really hard time about polluting our environment if we get it about interdependence. We have a much better time of understanding the joy of being able to contribute to the greater good when we get the interdependence. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this starter preview for the theme. Thank you, Siri. I invite us to sing hymn number 207, Earth Was Given as a Garden. This was an award-winning hymn. 30 years ago? This won a UU award and got into our hymn book. And it's great for this theme and for this month. And we convinced the Lutherans and the Episcopalians that we'll sing a verse of it on the 21st. So I invite you to rise and sing as you're willing and able. Earth was given as a garden, cradle for humanity, tree of life and tree of knowledge, place for all discovery. Here was home for all your creatures, born of land and sky and sea, all created in your image, all to live in harmony. Show to us again the garden where all life flows fresh and free. Gently guide your sons and daughters into full maturity. Teach us how to trust each other, how to use for good our power, how to touch the earth with reverence, and once more with Eden found. Bless the earth and all your children on creation, make us whole, interwoven, all connected, intertwined and in the soul. Holy Mother, life bestowing, bid our waste and warfare cease. Fill us all with grace growing. Teach us how to live in peace. And the light's gone. But it's not gone from our hearts. The heat is gone, but not the warmth of our interactions. For a week, this chalice will be waiting for us to return again, to light the flame, to return with love and with wonder at the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Blessings on all of you. See you again.